sometimes D&D can get a little rough. Like here, where this guy served his wife divorce papers in game and in real life at the same time. Yeah. Today we're checking out some of Reddit's worst D&D experiences and memories, and oh man, does it get juicy. As a DM, a guy legit signed up and told me he wanted to play a criminal/evil paladin, not saying exactly what he wanted to do as it might violate some rules, and when I told him no, he berated me and called me all sorts of names. I blocked him and he kept making alt accounts to send me DMs through Twitter. Just pure unhinged behavior because I want to let someone play a completely evil character. His concept was he's evil until level 10 when he has a change of heart and oath breaks his evil god to become good. Playing an evil character is one thing, but the things this guy wanted to do as a character was the largest red flag I've ever seen. I'm personally not a massive fan of evil campaigns, and having an evil character in an otherwise good campaign can and often does lead to some issues, but you can totally do it decently. But I do feel like, hey, what kind of evil acts do you have in mind is a fair enough question for session 0, because sometimes people are just genuinely fucking crazy. Nautical Campaign. The second session, we spent over 1 hour trying to understand the DM's ship combat rules that not even they understood. Run out of time, express how annoying the situation was later. Next session starts with the DM showing us his revised rules. They are twice as long and even more confusing. We proceeded into a ship battle that lasted 3 rounds and lasted close to 2 hours, where most of us didn't do anything, stepped away from the table, and never looked back. Well, it sounds like you can make use of this free homebrew pack called A Guide of Ships and Sailing, made by a certain handsome tavern keep that will go unnamed. It's available for free on the Twisted Pint Tavern Patreon. I showed up to a D&D event at my local game store for a one-shot because I'm a forever DM and wanted to play for a bit. However, I got sat next to an absolute specimen who, on top of having a bad attitude right at out-of-character introductions regarding people mispronouncing his character's name, at that point he never said his character's name, he also had unbelievable BO from his mouth. You know the bad breath smell? This wasn't that. Every time he spoke, it was like somebody was spreading some day 4 festival cheeks. Not you need to brush smell, but true and literal, please sit on a goddamn faucet smell. Tried to work out with food poisoning smell. I cannot stress enough that this is not an exaggeration. After 15 minutes, I started discreetly coming up with ways to play it off without being rude, which included spilling some Red Bull on my character sheet and playing with it held up near my face. It's not my business, but I'm pretty sure whatever bro had was medical, and I'd love to know what it was because god damn. It could totally be medical, and I'm never gonna shame someone for a medical thing they got going on. But there are also a lot of people out there who just don't brush their teeth. Ever. So if you're gonna go play a game with people, do everyone a favor and shower, brush your teeth, do something to help out. Let me regale you with the tale of Scaldat the Druid, yes. I was a teen when I played him, trying to hold my own in the family D&D group, my father's before me, whose friends and contemporaries of many, many years comprised the rest of the players. And I was excited to play a Dragonborn for the very first time. The only issue is that Scaldat was cursed to always fail at everything forever. That's not hyperbole, folks. Scaldat's only victories benefited him for maybe 3 days before it would suddenly and catastrophically backfire on him. Here's a condensed list of all the things that didn't go well for him. Joined the city guard to cover up an assassination the rogue did as a sign of good faith. Rogue thanked him by framing him for the murder. Became the leader of a bandit clan of werewolves, immediately got wanted posters up for his arrest. Attempted to redirect the bandits' rancorous murder boners toward corrupt wealthy elites, only for the bandits to raid the bank the party was working for, then disintegrated a turncoat bandit and pocketed his skull. This one had a delayed monkey pawing. Got entered, non-consensually by a party member, into a plea deal that would pardon him of all the crimes he didn't commit if he got sold as a slave to his party and forced to wear a magically compelling slave collar. Upon escaping the holding cell while slave trade was being discussed, ran into a guard in the hallway that listened to him just long enough for him to say, "Look, the only way I can get out of this is if I get scarier. Do you know anyone that can enchant this charred skull to be that? I need to get out of the mafia. I am begging you." Got arrested for the murder of that disintegrated bandit, someone who was already wanted dead by the guards that arrested him. entered into yet another plea deal, wherein he takes part in the main quest he was already going to take part in, but now he's on parole, finds an underwater river in this cavern system that they're tasked with exploring, thinks, well, there's no way to ford that, now is there, and plants a magic bean that grows into a full-size pyramid underneath the town square that contains a CR-15 mummy lord, indirectly causing the deaths of tens of magical riot cops and hundreds of innocent bystanders. Literally everything Scaldat did was turn into a bit. Every single action was the Scaldat fucks up again show, and for literally no reason. Shit sucked. That was a plot necessary down too, and it ended the campaign. You could not pay me 3 lifetimes worth of money to go back to playing that fuck-ass lizard. My sincerest apologies to you and Scaldat. That does not sound very enjoyable. I will say though, as a DM, I understand having consequences to actions and not just changing your game if the players do something that accidentally would cause a problem, like, you know, a magic bean sprout kind of growing into a pyramid and unleashing something terrible. Sure, but don't let it be a campaign-ending thing. If it's an accidental thing by the players, it shouldn't end the entire game for everybody just because you happened to have an underground pyramid there. Yeah, that sucks. You know what doesn't suck, though? The sponsor of today's video, ENCLAVE. ENCLAVE is an amazing TTRPG system that can be played literally anywhere in a matter of minutes, including in Discord. ENCLAVE is a diceless TTRPG system with flexible rules and genius mechanics that allow the imagination of you and your players to run wild. Do you want to be a gunslinger going on missions in a cyberpunk city? Sick, do it. How about being able to throw lightning at people? Nothing stopping you except the law. Creating characters and games in ENCLAVE is super fast and easy, but still allows you to put a ton of effort and world building into your campaign if you'd like to. The Dungeon Lunch Break crew, including me, got to play in a session of ENCLAVE with the game's creator, Robbie, and it was a ton of fun, and we literally went from let's start on characters to the session begins in a matter of minutes. ENCLAVE just wrapped up the Kickstarter for its 2nd edition and is now available for late backing, but you have to act now because late backing ends on December 18th. If you're looking for an awesome holiday gift for that special person in your life, or just want to run ENCLAVE yourself, then check it out at the link in the description. In the first couple of months I played D&D, I joined an online game with strangers who I found out were little brother of the DM, brother's girlfriend, and one of their friends. The girlfriend was pretty much checked out after 2 to 3 sessions, as in napping during the game, or only active if there was combat, and the friend ghosted at some point, leaving pretty much just me, playing a warlock I think, and the brother, paladin, as active players. The game was Lost Mine of Phandelver. The paladin was obsessed with using divine sense, but also absolutely convinced for some reason that because the townsfolk, commoners, let the bandits take over their town, then obviously the townsfolk are all evil. He'd use divine sense to try and find out if a group of people were evil, the DM would say no, and he'd decide divine sense was wrong because the people are evil. I'd separate from the group and roll a good persuasion check to get some good information from someone, then suddenly the paladin would rush in before the person could say anything and threaten to cut off their head if they didn't give us the information. This paladin kept saying he was lawful good, and therefore all his actions were just. Anyway, something like this happened at least once per session, and I recall a moment when I practically yelled into the mic, "Dude, can you please just be quiet for a minute?" I should have just quit for my own mental health, but that's something I learned how to do much later. The game ended after 5 to 6 sessions and some scheduling issues, then finally the DM's wife giving birth and him permanently pausing the campaign. Thankfully, I've been playing some one-shots at a local game store at the same time with a wonderful group of people, so this experience didn't put me off the game. Weirdly though, for my first year, every single person who played a paladin at a table I was at was an absolute jerk. Just because you play a paladin doesn't mean you're a jerk. However, there are some classes that tend to draw the attention of, assholes wanting to have a power trip, and those can be paladins. So I'm not saying paladin equals bad, but bad can more often equal paladin. And that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you have any terrible, horrible, no good, very bad D&D experiences you'd like to share, and don't forget to check out ENCLAVE using the link in the description. I'll see all you wonderful tavern folk in the next video. Bye-bye.